Good evening, everyone. It's Tom Sydney Bushnell, aka Numbers, here from Psych Club, Tom Numbers Show. News of Tom Numbers on top of your game. And I've got my buddy in the house, in the virtual house, in the Arizona house over there, Mr. Matt Geiger from MIDAS Gold, our official sponsor for the show. Matt, how are you, buddy? I love your T-shirt.
Thank you, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Yeah, I'm good.
Friday. It's Friday, so I get to watch it.
It's Friday, yeah.
I always wear my junior shirt. I wear a junior shirt on Friday. I got a couple different versions of these.
Yeah. What happened on Friday, didn't it, in 63?
Was that a Friday?
November 22nd, 1963 was a Friday.
Oh, November 22nd. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
The funeral on his third birthday, which is pretty sinister.
3 days later, yeah, 25th, yeah. So that would have been a Monday, I guess. That was quick. The funeral? Wow, they wrapped that up quick if that's when it was. Yeah, wow. I just did a tweet, actually. I connected the dots on Princess Diana, Q. I've done it before, but I added some more bits. Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman's, like Superman's Clark Kent. Wonder Woman's Diana Prince, so it's like Princess Diana. Houses of Parliament, November 5th. Melania, Sylvester Stallone. A little bit for, I think, JFK for sure. Witness protection. Anyway, there's a whole thread I did on Twitter this afternoon.
Very interesting.
Enjoy that. Yesterday, so I did a show with Jan Halper Hayes, Dr. Jan.
Should have caught it before I came. I got to watch anything with Jan Halper, especially in you. I got to check it out.
Oh yeah. Well, people are loving it. It was a brilliant show, and she invited so Tony Tater. So he's a retired military general. He was third at Department of Defense under Trump, and he's an author, and he's written some books. And Jan puts it really amazingly. She says he's telling the truth in fiction, and like the story arcs, the character arcs, there's so many parallels with what's going on now. Even his two kind of most recent books. One is
sounds like a Tom Clancy-esque.
Yes. Yeah, there's that. There's the Tom Clancy element. And there's one which is where do we get to? I got it here. Oh, you know what? I've sent the I didn't send all of it. So one of his books is Phalanx Code, and then the other one is Double Crossfire. He's done maybe 4 or 5, but I think they're the most recent two. But when you add those two numbers together, of the titles of those two books, comes to 274, which is 2024. So it's like poignant right now. And also, if you do Double Crossfire plus Phalanx, it actually comes to where are we? Comes to 247, but it came to today's newspaper. So we did the show last night, and this is it. So here we go. So there's a bit of news with Tom Numbers here with Matt. So you got Rough Justice. The Rough Justice is 138, which is Donald Trump, which is revaluation. River Thames, that's one of the codes I did in the show last night with them before this came out in the newspapers. Oh, wow. And then 109 is Daily Star,
right?
Which is Witness, which is Diana Spencer, Psych Club, Batman, Robin, a whole bunch. But you add those together, it's 247. But that does come to Double Crossfire plus Phalanx. So it's like it's the things we were talking about last night. And I saw it, I was like, oh wow, there it is. Because the newspapers, they're watching our shows. Someone's watching. Someone's watching, and it comes out. It's like it's the synchronicities. I don't think it's a little man in a tinkering away. I think it's a bigger conscious synchronicity dimensional thing, because it happens all the time. It's a joy to behold.
It is.
And like the other one we did the other day. It's like Indiana Jones and Nuggets. Yeah. That's Golden Nugget. It's like there'll be something else probably tomorrow or the day after. you get 2 or 3 of them a week in the papers. It's brilliant, you know.
Interesting.
So
Very-
yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
go and watch that show, everyone. It'll be on YouTube. Well, it is on YouTube. It's on my channel, Psych Club, and
What I thought was interesting, something I kind of want to talk about today was the cyber attack yesterday, right? The Chinese cyber attack. You see
yeah.
that?
Did you get anything funny on your phone yesterday?
I know
did.
I went live with another guy, Vlad. He does American News Network, ANN, Vlad.
Okay. Yeah.
Check him out. He's got some good insights, but and I'm kind of getting it more into like our realm, you know, because he's a little bit more mainstream.
Yeah.
Vlad, here, take a look at this, you know. But
Yeah.
you know, we were talking
We're the
about
mainstream now, Matt. We're the mainstream.
yeah, we're the mainstream now. But he was we went on his live stream on his channel and we were just
Yeah.
talking about, and you know, I just explained to people that, and I'll explain it here, as and your viewers probably know this, but it's the pre-programming phase, right? They're getting us subconsciously ready for that cyber attack, right? It's going to start out with some little pocket in the southeast, right?
Yeah.
It affected like Florida, Georgia. And there were some people that did have their phones. They couldn't make phone calls. Some people came on the live chat and said, yeah, my phone's down.
Yeah.
But then again, I guess, how are they watching the show? But in any case, you know, I think it's the pre-programming, and I think we're going to see more and more of these cyber attacks coming. This is just the tip of the iceberg, right? They're just getting us mentally prepared.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, eventually going to hit the banking system, right? I think eventually it's going to be, oh, sorry, you know, there's a cyber attack on, you know, Bank of America. If you have an account here, we don't know how much money you had in there. We have no idea. They wiped out everything. You know, sorry.
And,
The way it was Russia who did it. It was Putin. Putin did it himself. He was it's Putin at his computer. He did it personally. You know, this is the type of nonsense that we're in for.
Putin did it personally. You know what? So that thing of the cyber attack has been around for a while, but now it's, you know, because we're getting closer, it's coming up. And so I've had this before occasionally, but sometimes my phone, very rarely, and it would just kind of switch off for a second and do a little swirling and come back up again. I've had that once or twice. Anyway, it happened 4 times last night in the space of about, I don't know, 5 minutes. But it was weird because it didn't shut the phone off. It just did this thing like it was about to, swirly, and then it was back on again. So I was like, do I need to reboot? And then I thought about the cyber attacks. I was like, okay, because, you know, they might just be winking, saying hello, you know. But what a beautiful way. So I've thought about this before, but because it's present again, it's like, okay, you know, in Ocean's 11, you know, you remember the film Ocean's 11?
I do.
Yeah. So, you know, when they're basically misdirecting, and you know, they've totally pulled down the house and they've cha-ching taken it out. It's a casino. President Trump used to own casinos, you know. And Casino 61, which is a miracle. It's Don Jr., so Don Jr. So if you're watching Don 61, Miracle Casino. And I love that sort of thing and that would be a total Trump-esque thing to do. Be like, oh, there's all this, what happened? We don't, like you just said, we don't know what you had, and all the ones that needed to go down will be wiped out. And then, oh, look, people, you've suddenly got this wealth in your account. You know, it's like, how are they going to transition? It's Robin Hood. How are they going to transition it from the bad ones into the good sovereign people and give them back what their birthright was thousands of years ago? And I think it could be, combined with the cyber attack, almost a nice kind of entertaining casino moment. You know, I felt that for a while, and I was thinking about similar stuff just earlier, and now you're bringing it up. I'm like, I guess we'll find out, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, they have to take down the banks, because what are the banks? The banks are just another creation of the deep state, right?
Yeah.
So they have to go down in some shape or form.
Yeah.
So realistically, like when I was talking to Juan, it's like, yeah, you can store your money in all kinds of things. You can store them in collectible cars, although collectible car values are starting to go down, right? What's nice about gold and silver is that it's a real form of money. It's something that'll get consensus, right? It's something that, right? What is money? Money's an agreement between people.
Yeah.
Right? So I think it's the simplest, most straightforward way to get from this system into the new one, because with this cyber attack yesterday, I see those ramping up, right? The way Vlad put it was actually pretty well. It's like, think about the difference between the first attack on Trump and the fourth attack on Trump, in terms of like indictments and it's getting more and more escalated. They're getting more and more, by this time around, they're having him pay, 355 million. They're trying to have him have a judgment where between the actual verdict here in this bogus, kangaroo court and the actual time to get at the appeal, they're making him pay that money or else they're going to take his property. Right. So they are going hard after him. So I would relate that to the types of attacks we're going to see against us, which is going to be, it's going to be an escalation. This is just some little outage in the Southeast, right? Next time it's going to be an outage in the entire East Coast, right? Maybe it lasts for a day, 2 days, right? What are you seeing?
Oh.
What?
Finish your bit, I'll share it. Yeah.
No, please share. I just saw your face change. I was like, what's he doing?
Yes. So cyber is 53, which is wheel, like Wheel of Fortune. It's also COVID. So, COVID attack, cyber attack. Attack is 56, which is also light. But you add them together and that comes to 109, which is 17, which is, one of the magic numbers. So it's like, okay. And then Starlink. So I've known Starlink was a big part of this for a while. And it's like Starlink is 104. I was born in a place that came to the numbers 104. Our street came to 104. I lived on number 29. 29 is Diana. Anyway, so 109. But then if you do Starlink, that's interesting. It comes to 213, which is Warren's book, Kid by the Side of the Road. So there you go. So Kid by the Side of the Road comes to Starlink cyber attack. Because Starlink's, but I did a show with Pascal a couple of weeks ago, and I knew this, but he said it as well. So he said, well, Starlink is Space Force. It's like, well, that makes sense. It's like it's all part of it. And then if you do Space Force on top, so if you do Space Force Sky, if you do Starlink Space Force cyber attack, comes to 304. 304. If you drop, that's a big number, but if you drop the 0, comes to 34, which is grace, which is leap. We're in the leap year. And you just said just a couple of minutes ago about Trump's most recent fine. What's the figure again?
355.
Okay, you ready? 355 comes to remember the 5th of November.
I knew there was something to that figure too. I knew
exactly.
It. Needed somebody like you to figure it out.
There it is. He's there. Don is there. Donald Trump is telling everyone, it's like 355 million fine. I'm like, 355. He just told us.
Yeah. And what's interesting about it is that might tell us that the whole court case and all the stuff he's going through could be an operation by the White Hats.
It is. All of it is.
It has to be.
All of it is. All of it is. Yeah, it is.
It's like I've come to that realization, but it's so hard, because you see it and it seems so real. It's like this is so, this has to be happening, and it's like, nope, something else. And I keep telling myself that it's like, okay, this is a movie, just watching a movie here. We're watching the controlled demolition of the country and the world, for that matter. Shoot, man.
All of it.
All of it.
Crisis on the border, election, all of it is a white hat operation.
Yeah.
That's what it is. The whole thing is a white hat operation.
So hard to, it's like
the whole thing is.
You think something's real and then it's not. It's the whole thing's mind blowing.
The whole thing is, it's brilliant. And it's quantum. Quantum is 107. Quantum is 107, which is Trump's, which is military, which is Aquarius, which is currency, Superman. They operate on different levels. There's that phrase, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. It's like, and he's given us eyes to see. And it's like, well, once you see it and you've come to that and realize, you know, if you maybe were told a few months ago like that, but you've figured that out yourself, so you can own it, and it's yours now. That knowledge is yours. You know,
Escaping the matrix, man. Escaping the matrix.
Escaping
like I remember when they caught Biden in the fake White House. Remember they caught Biden, and it actually made the mainstream news for a very short period of time. He was admitted. He's in a fake White House. Like, where's this press pit? Like, where's, you know, even like a guy like Peter Ducey, you know, from Fox, you know, because he goes in there and he asks Jean-Pierre, you know, Karine Jean-Pierre, or whatever her name is, you know, he asks her just the funniest questions. It's almost like, you know, he's like, yeah, when was the last, you know, he'll just ask something like absolutely ridiculous, like just a backhanded question to this woman. It's like, where are they really meeting? Are they really in the White House press pit? Like, I think they're somewhere else.
Yeah.
They're doing somewhere else. The whole thing is just,
they are.
mind-blowing.
What's the name of the type? So what's the name of the studio in? I've forgotten the name of it. It's on the tip of my tongue. There's a studio in California where there's a few White Houses around. Tyler Perry had one. There's a few around. I think he's in one. What's the one in California? It's called something Studios.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but even the word studios is 107, which is military, which is quantum, which is Trump's. Joseph Biden is 107, military, quantum, Trump's. I've said it for ages. Trump's got him in his pocket because he's an actor. Central casting, 146 central casting. Truth Social, 146. New Jerusalem, 146. What's the New Jerusalem? It's the dove. There's massive, there's mind-blowing things coming along the way, man. This is designed to wake, like, if you're, so, you know, imagine if you've got a dysfunctional house or a dysfunctional neighborhood or city, country, world. There's a few adults that know, you know, they can go in and sort it out. What's the best way to do it? You go in, do the Santa Claus thing, do all the changes in the blink of an eye, and then you get everyone else, keep them safe, and then bit by bit they figure out, okay, this is how we take ownership of our home, of our town, of our society. We can make it function. But if there was an evil beast lurking that people didn't even know about, a few big boys are going to go in and take it out, so it doesn't frighten and destroy the people. It's the same thing. That's what's happened with this. They've done it all.
Make a clean getaway through the chimney.
Yeah, exactly. Trump said, "I caught the swamp. I caught them all." So all these other things are just narratives to just do whatever they got to do. Let lower level rats surface and be exposed. There's going to be more of that. This will be the year of exposure. But at the same time, the good ones, the pure in heart, God's children, you know, if you're good, and you'll be all right. You'll be protected, and then we get to move into this better period of time, this better age, this golden age, millennium, 1,000 years of peace. You know, it is. It's the whole thing's a white hat operation, buddy. The whole thing. The whole thing. It's been going on longer than since 2020.
Oh yeah. I mean, this arguably goes back to, I think it originated with the whole Q stuff. I think originated with Eisenhower. I think Eisenhower started just based on what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Oh, even before that.
Well, when was Eisenhower? I'm not great on my. So was he after JFK or before?
Before.
Yeah. So So you can take it back to at least Roswell, probably before as well. But Roswell, there was something that happened. There was a change.
Eisenhower knew all the military secrets. You know, he knew Project Paperclip, right? He knew.
Yeah.
He knew about everything, and therefore so did Nixon, right? Nixon knew exactly what Nazis were being sent where, right? I think Juan actually talked about that on Nino's Corner recently. Nixon knew exactly who these Nazis were, where they were being sent, right? Nixon's actually a very interesting character in all this.
Yeah.
Because he's played both sides, right? He had to play both sides. He was vice president to Eisenhower. And then in 1959, he ran against Kennedy. He actually beat Kennedy, right? And they rigged it, right? Joe Kennedy rigged it for John Kennedy in Chicago, right? That was the deciding factor. And then according to Juan, Nixon didn't want to, you know, if he didn't protest it because he was friends with Kennedy. They were friends with each other, you know, so he figured okay, I'm not going to tear the country apart. You know, I'll just go my merry way. And there's actually some really interesting. If you watch my interview with Juan and Kellyanne, I have it on my podcast, or you can go to Kelly's channel. Juan actually talks in depth about some very interesting stuff that happened with Kissinger, Henry Kissinger in the 1970s,
Huh.
about how the Chinese bought 2 submarines off the Russians, these nuclear capable submarines that were capable of firing a nuclear missile. And I guess the Russians wanted to frame the Chinese for shooting off a nuclear missile at the United States. And as they fired this missile, they fired the missile. It got caught in the tube, and it sunk the ship.
Huh.
And the ship went down to, you know, some crazy depth, like, you know, 12,000 feet or something crazy. And the way Juan explained it was that it was harder to go down and retrieve that than it was to send somebody to the moon. You know,
Right.
way
Just
more.
right.
But
Yeah.
we went to the Chinese and we said, hey, you know, the Russians are trying to frame you for trying to shoot a nuke at the United States, and the Chinese wouldn't believe us. And this is when Kissinger was opening up communications, right, with the Chinese at that time. And they literally, in order to prove it to the Chinese wouldn't believe us. That's why they had to go down and dig it out and actually physically show them. It was because the Chinese didn't believe that the Russians were framing them. They thought that we were trying to somehow frame Russia. You know, it's just this whole, just confusion in this experience. And yeah, we had to like dig this submarine up from the depths of the ocean, the deepest depths of the ocean, just to show the Chinese, like, yeah, this is what they did. And Kissinger, I guess, helped avoid war. You know, Juan talked about what's his name? VP to President Kennedy, Lyndon Johnson.
Johnson, yeah.
You know, things got so Lyndon Johnson, all he wanted to do was be president. And then he took a back seat eventually because, right, he wanted to rerun, and he dropped out against, of course, Robert Kennedy. But yeah, he as Juan said, he grew out his hair long and became a pothead later in life because he saw just how evil things had gotten. He didn't realize just how evil what he was taking part in, how bad it was.
Wow.
Watch the interview. I'm explaining it terribly, but it's just really interesting history, like just a piece of history that even the history books don't tell the truth. There's people that write all these books and they're not even right about this stuff. So it's such an interesting set of events that got us to where we are right now. That's really, it's like all these people involved. Nixon, you know, Nixon was a good guy at the end of the day. He mentored Trump, right? He was Trump's mentor in politics.
Yeah.
Don't know that. I mean, wait till people learn about that. That's incredible.
Yeah. And so the General Tony that was on the show last night with Jan and myself, he talked about one of the characters in his book, and part of the narrative of the story is that a president faked his own death and then was president from behind the scenes. And I was like, oh, interesting. And the character's name comes to 174, which comes to real Donald Trump, which is Trump's Twitter handle. It's Eye of the Storm. It's currency exchange, the first piece of comms that they gave Melania and Trump coming down the escalator, and Ivanka's there. And I was there in Manhattan. I think I might have flown out that day, but I'd met Ivanka just 5 days before and started getting these number synchronicities, you know. But and then I said to Tony, I said, so could that be then that President Trump is a president, but is reporting to another president? And we kind of just had a smile, and I was like, so much bigger than what people, even in the movement, can understand, you know? But it's like, what do you do? If it's life or death, yeah. If you can appear not to be here, but still pull the strings and orchestrate this big upheaval and change and cleansing of the earth, you're going to get divine assistance on it as well, you know, because ultimately God wins. And otherwise, what's the point, you know? What's the point? And so it's an amazing game. It's enjoy the show. It's a golden popcorn moment for sure, you know. And we'll learn more. But yeah, it's fascinating. It's fascinating, you know.
So very much so. I'm really and I think we talked about it before, but it's like I really am excited to learn the real history. Like I want to read the books that come out the real history of the last 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
You know, the stories that are probably told, you know, like the story I was just talking about with Juan, where this nuke, the only reason it didn't go off is it got caught in basically the barrel, the tube.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk about divine assistance.
I know, that's it. There's God moments for sure, you know. It's like, so going back, we mentioned about the Friday, and Friday is 63 in numbers. And it's also 11. Kennedy had the 11, 11, 0, you know, the Silver Order, etc. But if you do the numbers on November, so if you do the day after, November 23rd in 1963, so if you, that's a Saturday. So if you do September, November 23rd, when the world knew what happened to JFK, that actually comes to 369 in numbers, which are the Tesla numbers. It comes to John Kennedy, witness protection. It also comes to time travel, witness protection, 369. And there was a nice reference over here in England. There's a science fiction show called Doctor Who. You might be familiar with it, yeah.
I love Doctor Who.
Doctor Who's all about.
Doctor.
What's that?
Who's your favorite doctor?
Well, the first one I remember is Tom Baker, and I used to live on Baker Street, which is around the corner from Sherlock Holmes, and I quite liked Peter Davison. But Doctor Who came out that day. It came out on the Saturday, but they had to re-show it a week later because of the events of Kennedy. For that week, everyone was focused on what happened. But that's all about time travel. So it's like something somewhere is showing us through the synchronicities and pieces and things in plain sight. When you piece them back together, you're like, how on earth did that happen? You know.
I like is it Matt? Matt Smith. Yeah.
Yeah, Matt Smith. Yeah, because it got shelved for, I don't know, a decade or two, and then it came back again. They've had all these other new ones, you know.
You should watch the Vincent Van Gogh episode.
I've not seen. I don't follow the new one, and I'll have a look at that. Send me some
Vincent
clips.
Van Gogh episode. Like I tear up when I watch that episode.
Okay,
it's so good.
He plays Prince Philip in The Crown, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's also in the new version of Game of Thrones.
Is he?
Yeah.
He was actually featured in one of the Terminator movies.
Yes.
He was like the bad guy in Terminator.
Okay. Yeah, there was Jason Clarke. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Not a big one, but he was in there. But I love Matt Smith as Doctor Who. He's fantastic. Yeah. I love that show.
You know what? Game of Thrones is 146, New Jerusalem, Truth Social, Central Casting. So there's all these things they've brought out that have been really popular, but when you decode the numbers, it's like it starts to weave this sort of pattern and picture of what's been going on. But I mean, what's the likelihood of November 23rd, Saturday, being 369? John Kennedy, witness protection. Time travel, witness protection. Time travel is 125. John Kennedy's 125. Dark to Light's 125. It's like 8th Avenue, where the Tesla Hotel, well, the New Yorker, where Tesla lived, is 125. I mean, how does that work? How does that work? It's like, okay, the guy that's known for time travel and all that stuff, it's like he lived there for, you know, a decade, and is on 8th Avenue, which is 125, which is time travel, which is John Kennedy. It's like, how does that all work? You know,
and again, Ingersoll Lockwood, right?
Exactly.
Trump, with the exact coordinates of Trump Tower in 1892.
Yeah, and he's called Baron Trump.
What the fuck is going on?
We're in a game. We're in a game, Matt. This was exactly what is going on, because it's.
Are we living in the Matrix? Are we just here, like, are our bodies suspended somewhere in some other reality, and we're just sitting here, you know, talking to each other on, you know, Zoom?
Feels like it, doesn't it? Feels like it. I mean, I question. I've always been questioning what is reality, what is it? But it feels like we're in a dream, even though it's a very realistic one. And what's to say we're not? We can't say one way or the other that we are. So I heard this one not too long ago. Imagine that all our memories, everything that we've ever thought we knew, was just implanted in us 2 weeks ago.
It's so bizarre. It's so
We don't even know if that's the case. I mean, it's like we don't know. I mean, it is bonkers. It's so bizarre. And when you see, that's the thing. I love them. I love the synchronicities, and the numbers help thread it together. But I just love it because I know that's how I know this is all going to be great for everybody.
Yeah, shows like yours make it fun. That's what you do, is you make it fun to go into this. That's why I think people watch you. That's why I would watch you in the past. It's like, it makes it so that it's like, okay, I'm not crazy. Other people are thinking the same thing. These numbers are pretty cool. We can have fun with it, as opposed to being like, oh shit, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Kudos to you.
Thanks, buddy. Kudos to you. That's the thing. It's like and that's with the audience. It's like, for years I've been doing this, talking into a phone, but then I get to meet people.
Yeah.
The other side. It's like there's a lady I bumped into twice now in another town called Olivia. She came to my event in May last year, but I bumped into people, along the beach in London, in New York. I bumped into people that knew me back 2 years ago in the Tesla Hotel in the New Yorker, which was amazing. It was bizarre, It's like in Arizona, all over the place. I've had it, and it's like, this is so strange, but it's great. It's brilliant. It's fun. That's the thing. So I like how you've articulated that. It's, make it fun, and that's what it is. And then people they see their own synchronicity. You have the global picture that ties us all together, but then you've got your own synchronicities and your own families and your own history. And it's like, how on earth does that? And that's the beauty of it. When you go into the 5D or above, it becomes like this kind of holographic pop-up book of light. That's what it's like,
Graphic pop-up book of light.
Holographic pop-up book of light. Yeah.
Interesting. Should run the numbers on that.
We should. I'll do that. Yeah. But that's what it's like. It's like, you go in. It's like when you talked about, are we in the Matrix or a game or whatever? And when you go into like you're playing with a headset, or you're just on a screen and you don't know what's around the corner, but then you peer out into the darkness effectively, or the unknown, and then something else appears, and that's what it's like. So it's kind of, that's what life's like. You don't know what's coming, but you get this sense, you get this periscope feeling of what's around the corner. Oh, it's that, and it's great. It's a fun feeling, Don't enjoy. It's life.
I'm having fun, man.
Yeah.
Life ain't too hard. I hang out here in Arizona. People come in. I deal on the phone, gold, silver. It's pretty straightforward stuff. It's nice because it's like people are really not buying anything, right? You're just converting to a better currency, realistically. So it's like I'm giving something better than what they gave me. Like when I get paid, I don't want the cash. Like I buy gold and silver just like I preach to everybody else.
Yeah.
But Arizona is a cool place to live, except for the summer. I don't know if have you been here for the summer?
No, well, actually, I did for a part, and it was just too much. I was the same with my buddy Chad, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
couldn't do it.
It's freaking brutal.
Yeah,
but you make it through there. Like right now, beautiful.
Yeah.
I got the top down in the Mustang, cruising around, hair blown in the wind. It's fantastic. But
you're like Don Johnson.
I'm like Don Johnson. Yeah,
You're like Don Johnson.
One day I'm Vincent, the next day I'm Don Johnson. Yeah.
Exactly. Man,
Could have worn white jeans or something today.
There you go. You'll come out with a nice, like, kind of Tiffany blue pastel shoulder pad jacket, and then like a kind of pink, with a gold chain, and Don Johnson. Yeah, hey, it's Don Johnson.
Don Johnson. Nice to meet you. Great
Don
show.
Johnson. Yeah. Oh, it's great. I love Miami. And the Jan Hammer Crockett's theme, it's a great theme tune. Yeah.
Funny, actually, if you watch some of those, it's Miami Vice, right? We're talking. Ben Stiller, one of Ben Stiller's first roles was in there. He's like a bad guy. Like a bad guy drug dealer and like drug user. It's actually really funny to look into it. Ben Stiller on Miami Vice. It's a really funny, because like we know Ben Stiller is somebody completely different.
Yeah.
Like a serious role. He's like a drug addict, drug dealer. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. Might be telling you the truth, actually.
That's true. Yeah.
That
guy's
probably
some
I think unfortunately. But so So here they show some of the old shows, like they did The Fall Guy for a while. They've got Knight Rider on now, and I know Hassel. I know David. I've met him, and I sent him a text at Christmas. He said, sent one back, and but I didn't know this, but about a week or so ago, they were showing an episode with Gina Davis. One of the first things she ever did was in Knight Rider.
That's so funny.
She was in Knight Rider. So it's like, yeah. Knight Rider, and
he was like the biggest pop star in Germany, right? David Hasselhoff.
Yeah, he sung on the wall in Berlin, didn't it? Help him bring that down. Yeah. Well, he's like the biggest TV star probably of all time. Baywatch was it syndicated. My granddad used to love watching Baywatch.
Of course he did.
Of course he did. Well, everyone did. But everyone did. Exactly. It's a great show. And then and Knight Rider, and but yeah, he's cool, and Gina Davis was in one of the very early episodes. I think it's in season 2 because they're on season 2 now, and I was like, I recognise her. That's Gina Davis. Looked it up, Wikipedia. Yeah, she is Gina Davis.
I caught the new Baywatch shows. My girlfriend was watching it, I guess, on one of her Netflix. I don't really watch TV. It's in her house. I was in her room. I'm like, what the hell are you watching? It was Baywatch. It was like a new Baywatch, and like The Rock was in it.
Yeah.
I watched an episode. It was terrible. It was just awful.
They did the film with that, didn't they? It was like, I don't know why they did. They should have. If you're gonna, it's like, if you're gonna do Baywatch, and you've got to keep Hasselhoff in it. Why would you do Hasselhoff? Because the other thing was not Baywatch. It was just the name Baywatch. It wasn't Baywatch.
What's her name made a cameo? Pamela Anderson. She did make a cameo.
Okay, so Pammy got in.
Yeah.
So this is talking about. So this is an interest. So see how we come. So, and this wasn't planned, but so Pamela Anderson used to go and see Julian Assange.
Yeah.
So I would think maybe Pammy might be working for the good ones.
I think it's the other way around, because I knew that factoid too, and I think it's the other way around.
What, that Assange is?
She was trying to. I think she was trying to appeal to Assange to get stuff out of him.
She was trying to honeypot him.
I think she's trying to honeypot him.
Okay,
that's my take. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, because I like Pamela Anderson.
But
I think just from what I gathered, and I thought about this a couple of years ago, and from what I gathered, I think she was trying to honeypot him.
Okay.
Get him to divulge, maybe certain things that they needed to know what he had, right? Because what he did with WikiLeaks is absolutely brilliant. The way he structured that thing and got everything done with it. And Assange could be related to Trump, right?
Yeah, cousin. Yeah, that's what they say, don't they? Say cousin. Yeah, so maybe she was. And the other thing, so another one that popped through my head recently with that was Jen McCarthy. So she was one of the first ones to be revealing about the rescue missions early 2020 in Central Park. She was a name that was actually saying, this is what's going on, and leaving recordings. So it's like, so
that's what they're doing. They're taking kids out of Central Park from underground, right?
Yeah.
That's why the ships went in, to take those kids out.
That's why the ships went in. Yeah, that's why the ships went in, and she was one of the first. Well, she was a big name, and she was actually talking about it within the first couple of weeks of it all going on. What's that?
Married to Jim Carrey.
Is she?
She was. I think they have a kid together.
Okay. Interesting. So they say
so
Jim's
sad.
Jim's like apparently really high up in the dark side. So maybe that's why she got out, but I knew maybe that was it. She knew, and then was talking about it and letting people know what was actually apparently well, I say apparently, I believe it was. She was saying what was going on there, And like you said, that's why the ships were there.
So disappointing about Jim, man.
I know.
When I started learning about him, I was just like, man, I loved him. And in Living Color growing up, I remember as a little kid watching In Living Color. It'd come on, I think right after The Simpsons. And I'd stay up and watch it with my brother and my sister. And man, was that a funny show. I still watch those clips from that show. It's so good.
Yeah.
So funny, and what a sicko he became.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like that's all. So if you go back to the analogy of like the house or the town is dysfunctional, and the adults, you go clear it out, and then okay, now we're going to assemble. Imagine all of a sudden, like the kids find out that their toys are just bad, or their heroes are bad. That's the kind of, because we're still little kids at heart. I mean, look at my stuff. It's like we're adults.
Soccer ball, a tennis racket, and Darth Vader.
Exactly, we're kids in adult bodies. It's like we've all got that. It's like we all have. Everybody has a child in them, and that's what makes it. A lot of our things are interesting. We still have happy memories about growing up and the things we liked and the nostalgia element. And to know that most of that stuff is warped, that is going to be a tough one. But there's going to, it has to come to that. People have to know.
Has to be. The truth is more important.
Exactly, because then you can build, and you can. And the other funny thing about it is certain things that I was into, a lot of it's just kind of disappearing. A lot of it's just kind of melting away. A lot of people I like sports figures are actually like, oh, I hear them. It's like, okay, don't kind of have this energetic kind of buy into them now. Others I do, and I've still, what if I suddenly got told XYZ is one of them, I'll be okay, but I kind of just move on from it quickly. But some I can see that it's pretty obvious that they were. And that kind of emotional investment I had to them, from afar, is just kind of washed away now, which is nice.
I stopped going to sports events. Like I used to love going to, I'd go to football games all the time, baseball, hockey.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the stuff, but it's like no interest, none.
Yeah. Let go. You get rid of something. And the universe abhors a vacuum, so you put in something better. That's what's coming. The best is yet to come, So, yeah, man. Cool, buddy. That's fun going down memory lane with you.
Yeah. Memory lane. That's what we should title this episode.
Yeah, exactly. Memory lane.
And Matt go down memory lane.
Yeah.
Talked about the good old.
And what was it? Holographic. What was the one I came up with?
Holographic pop-up.
Yeah. A holographic pop-up book. But there was something else with it as well.
Could rewatch the episode and
we'll rewatch it.
Yeah.
I'm like, start doing my own numbers. Cool, man.
Well, good to see you.
You too. And how can people get hold of you if you want to get
just call me. Easiest thing to do is call me. When you call my phone at my office, if I don't answer, just leave a voicemail and it transcribes to my email. So even if you call like a Saturday or a Sunday, I can hear the email. And sometimes, if it's something you really want to talk about urgently, just let me know. I'll call you from my cell. I give everybody a phone number. I don't mind doing that. But my phone number is 480-725-0536. Or you can just call the main MIDAS line and just ask for me. We're not a big, we're two little storefronts. People think we're this big company. We're two little storefronts. One here and one in Thousand Oaks.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
And then, but you can deal with either physical purchases or you can deal with people's portfolio on a 401k, and you can help them transition that either all physical or part physical or stored away in a really secure facility. So you can cover all bases.
Convert, and I don't say it as a false sense of urgency. I'm not one of these people that's trying to scare people, but I do think these next, 6 months are going to be absolutely freaking nuts.
Yeah.
Who knows if you're going to even be able to move your money? Maybe the banks turn around at a certain point and say, you can't move it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Right. You can make purchases on your credit or debit card, but that's the extent. You can't even take out cash, So you want to be ahead of this thing. And that's what I would tell everybody is it's like, I'm not trying to create a false sense of urgency. I'm not one of those guys. But I do think that between now, the election, after the election, right, post-election time period, it's going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts. Give me a call.
So even just get a bit, just a little portion, be prepared,
Yeah, I do.
10% of what you've got, then you've got a bit of fluidity, flexibility, just give Matt a call, see what we can do for it, So
simple stuff, but important stuff.
That's it. Simple. 74, Gematria 74. Jesus 74. It's good stuff.
I like that. All right.
All right, my friend. Have a great weekend. I will
too.
see you early next week.
Sounds
And
good. Yep.
hey, we could be talking about something completely different. Who knows what comes up in the next 2 or 3 days?
Really bring in some my coin collection. I should really
Okay.
show.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
people, people that maybe have, maybe people that have, a couple $100 budget or something, I can point you in the right direction in terms of, some coins I have, they're maybe a few $100 a piece.
Yeah.
If you do it the way I did it, I think there's some upside potential when everything's said and done. So
Yeah.
I'll do that. I'll do that next week with you.
Cool.
Do an episode on collectibles, which is not what Midas does. We're not a collectible shop, but I do it personally, and I've done it right.
Cool, man. You know what? A thought just popped into my head before we go. So during the Trump administration, who was one of his main attorney generals?
Would Matt
A.G. Barr.
Oh, Barr. Okay.
Barr. Now people say he might be not on, he may not be. Maybe we all thought he was one of Trump's. Maybe he's not. But you never know in this story. Maybe he is. So, but when you look at it, what's the atomic symbol for silver? It's Ag.
Ag, right.
Ag. Au is gold, and Ag is silver. So Trump had an Ag bar following him around everywhere.
Right.
There's a silver bar.
Silver bar. Yep.
So a silver bar. So why not get yourself a silver bar at least? Cool that up. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's funny.
All right, my friend.
All right, man.
Cheers,
Thank
buddy.
you.
Cheers, man. Take care. Bye. Bye.